The Leaving Today podcast, the show about the news, history, and attractions of the Disneyland Resort.
Well, come on, Wendy. Let's go.
But where are we going?
To Neverland.
Neverland.
Hello, and hello. Welcome to the Leaving Today podcast, episode number 150. Yeah, 150 times we have done this. No, actually 149. This will be 150th, so I suppose that's about it, right? Okay, hello, and my name is Mark, one of the co-hosts here. Sitting actually to the left of me via FaceTime is going to be the game changer herself, Jess.
Hello.
Hello. And then
That was weird.
it was weird. Should she do it again?
No.
Okay.
She was just weird. Anyway.
Okay. The voice you heard coming out of that'd be stereo channel, right? It would be the Trail Master of Puppets himself, Udi.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for tuning in to us, downloading us today. Maybe you're on your commute. Maybe you are working out. Maybe you're riding a bike. Maybe you're taking a stroll. Maybe you're in the office or doing something. However it is, thank you so much for tuning in and downloading. Is tuning in even the right word? Probably not. It is. Yeah. Okay. If this is your first time, hey, welcome. We think you'll find the water to be very, very warm. If you are a repeat offender, hey, welcome home. If you'd like to support this show, because tonight's show is brought to you by you listeners out there, the Patreon family, you can do it on leavingtodaypodcast.com. Click on the Patreon logo, and we make it super simple there. $1, $3, or $5. And then if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's Leaving Today Podcast, and we have a link tree there with everything on there. You can get Patreon, you can get T-shirts, all that kind of cool stuff. But today, we have a very special guest on. It's a friend of the show, just a friend in general. Mm-hmm. The very talented Marcy Carriker Smothers. You should know her from her excellent book called Eat Like Walt. We highly encourage you to go out and get that, either at the parks or Amazon or however you want to, but definitely do it. It's super, super cool. But today we're talking about her latest book, just came out in November. It's called Walt's Disneyland, A Walk in the Park with Walt Disney. So we're going to talk about that, and I highly encourage you guys to pick up that copy. You might be able to give away a copy. We'll have to have a little game about that. We'll see how that goes. So we're also going to have the news, and I'll do a small trip report because I just got back from the parks. What is today? Sunday. I got back from the parks Thursday night. But today's opening question, not a simple yes or no, but maybe a quick discussion about this, because I was going over episode 149 and listening to some comments. We were talking about open spaces. And Udi made a comment about there's like this mental shift that one gets, or one may get, when going from Disneyland across the Esplanade into DCA, or going from DCA back into Disneyland. Remember that comment? Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, Jess and Udi, if you guys experience that mental shift, and if you could describe what it might mean for you and what you're feeling as you go from park to park across that Esplanade. Because I was thinking about that this past week. What's that?
I said Udi can go first.
Oh, Jess. Okay.
I always go first.
Not true. Well, you know.
And you know what? I might ask Marcia this.
Yeah. Well, I think when you really, for me, when I really think about it, it has to do with knowing history and understanding Walt and knowing what that park is and what it symbolizes. So when you look at DCA, you understand that it was done with a different mentality, a different way of looking at how to create a theme park, and one that they have ever since then been trying to correct, because I think they learned that we screwed that up. Or we didn't do it as good as we could have, would be the better way to put it, I think. But really what it is shifting your mind to being more into the tradition and heritage. Mm-hmm. And then when you come out of that park and you go into DCA, it's more about, we're all a little bit more open with ideas.
Yeah.
In DCA. How many times have we been here and we've gone like, well, that belongs over in DCA, not in Disneyland proper.
Yeah.
And that is all part of it. It is all part of that mentality that you have DCA. Hey, if you want to experiment with an IP or whatever, go over there.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You come over here, there is a level of respect and love that you probably don't need to mess with too much.
Yep. Right.
That's really what it is. So whenever you go to DCA, you have a little bit more, for lack of a better way of expressing it, more of an open
canvas
and willingness to be like, hey, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it, don't like it, less judgmental, or less rigid in our thought process.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
Okay. Jess?
Yeah, I mean, and I knew that him and I were going to kind of be on the same aspect, or kind of the same playing field. It's, for me, I don't know, my brain doesn't shift when I'm going from like one side to the other.
Okay.
Because it's just, you're full of excitement, and depending on where you start, like what side you starting on, there could be more of if I was starting in like DCA and like, making my way over to Disneyland after 1 o'clock, which I would never do. But like, there might be that build up and excitement there because you're going, into Disneyland, like you're going into, the original park, and that, where that's usually where you start off, and that's, you're so excited, out the gate, that when you go over to DCA, you're already pumped up.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yep.
So yeah, that would be my. Yeah, I don't really shift. Like, I'm excited no matter what. My mentality really doesn't change. It's only like, oh yeah, now we get alcohol.
Oh, there you go. Yep, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, no, that's interesting. See, no, mine does shift a little bit, because I think when I leave Disneyland and go to DCA, I find I'm missing Disneyland. And it's like I'm feeling, as Udi said, like, I don't know, a little more looser going over to DCA and not necessarily caring what they change and how they change it. Like, oh, okay, they're closing this section down, they're going to do this over here, cool, whatever. But when I go into Disneyland, I think I'm a little more protective of it in my own way. And I don't know how that translates into anything, but it's like I take mental notes of everything I see, and it's like, don't mess with this. And I just have a lot more respect for that park. And it could be that all my memories are tied to that park versus DCA. I do have memories for DCA, but if you were to weigh the two, it would be completely unfair to be on Disneyland, because it would be weighed down. And so I go in there, and I just think about everything that it took to get Disneyland off the ground in 1953, 1954, what was going on in the world then, and what it took, in those years leading up to get to this, and all the talent that and passion that went into getting that park done. And that's like, oh my gosh, you're just so that's just kind of what I think about. And yeah, so I don't know, it's just a little mood shift. But as you said correctly, Jess, was that I'm excited either way. I'm stoked. I'm not gonna have a bad time into the park. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And each park offers a little bit different level of excitement for me. because I don't think I'm gonna get anything like Guardians of the Galaxy, Mission Breakout at Disneyland. But
No.
But then again, I'm gonna get a whole lot of things that Disneyland has that DC just can't even match. But yeah, anyways, I don't know. I just thought about that. I was thinking about this past week. Okay, yeah. Well, I guess that's the opening question. And well, thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe we should ask Marcy that.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, cool. And then, all right, I guess now the time where we go to the news.
You listen to me now. You are talking about things that you do not understand.
All right. Well, here is the news for this week. Our crack reporters are hard at it again. First item is Mickey's Toontown removed from Disneyland App as the reimagining begins. This week, Mickey's Toontown closed for its year-long reimagining. The land is set to return next year with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And tonight, which was last week, Disneyland visitors noticed that the land no longer appears on the map of the Disneyland app. So if you go to the app and check it out, you can see that it's just basically gone. But they actually kind of cleverly put up like the little construction walls around the entrance, which is kind of funny. Yeah. So yeah, I did take a walk over there last week and checked it out. It's definitely closed. Can't do anything. So that's going to be very, very interesting. I also took a little lap around what I could from the Fantasyland Theater and just kind of imagined how much area that actually is if something else could go in there. I don't know if it could. It's not as big as I thought of an area.
That's what she said.
Yes, I'm myself up for that. Okay. Well, anyways, that's that's what's going on over at Mickey's Toontown. It is closed and it's not even on the map. So we shall see how that goes. I'm sure it'll start coming up once. I don't know, probably like in a year from now. Who knows? All right. Next item is I always think this is kind of funny. The crime report for February of 2022.
Every time you put that in our email and I read it, I start laughing.
Yeah, I love it.
I can't help it.
I absolutely love it. Anaheim Police Department call logs show officers responded to cases of assault and battery and grand theft, trespassing, vandalism, and public drunkenness at Disneyland. Jess was there in February, so some of that may have happened to her.
Hey, what date were you there, Jess? Do you remember?
Sorry, I connected my AirPods. I was there on the 14th.
Oh.
Ooh, things went down on the 14th. Well, we'll get there, though.
Yes. So here is the...
the top one on the 14th.
Anaheim Police Department call log for February at Disneyland. Hey, it started off with a bang on February 1st. They got a call for narcotics, citations issued. The 3rd, a lot happened on the 3rd. Narcotics, citation issued, distributing the piece, citation was issued, trespassing, suspect booked, and forgery fraud, report taken.
Somebody trying to pass a bad card there. How much you want to bet? Either bills right there or passing a bad credit card.
On forgery fraud?
Yep.
Could be. Mm-hmm. Who knows what that is? February 4th, Friday, saw assault and battery.
Ooh, no bueno.
And petty theft.
Okay, I'm surprised they even took a report for that.
Well, it was petty.
There's some classy people.
Yeah, the 5th was mild, just a small narcotics report. The 7th, two issues going on: petty theft and trespassing. Suspect was booked for trespassing.
Yeah, those are the ones that where are you trying to get it there? It says cast members only, right? Don't go in there.
Do you think that's what that means?
Probably.
Someone's in the park,
or they're we're told to get out.
Yeah,
like you've been ejected from the park or whatever.
Yeah.
Wait, what time was that at?
The 7th, 9:33.
Yep. That probably something happened there where a dude was somebody was being unruly. They said you need to get out, and they're like, no, we're not going to. We're going to call cops. Call the cops. Okay, a cop's going to say, yeah, we're out. When you're out of here.
That's trespassing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what they'll do when you're told you're no longer welcome here and you refuse to leave.
Mm-hmm.
they will issue a trespass. Like you're now officially trespassing.
That's happened to me at Jack in the Box many times.
I know, but
That does not surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been asked to leave and I refuse.
Yeah, you're like, no. And why, sir? Because I see that chicken sandwich is now 5 cents more. What are you doing?
Yeah,
I see your conspiracy.
that is exactly what I would do
Yep,
too.
I know.
Okay, so that was the 7th. The 8th was another trespassing. I guess the dude came back because that's at 10:45.
Yeah,
On a
at
Tuesday,
night.
the park probably closed at 9 or 10 that day.
Yeah, didn't want to leave.
Didn't want to leave.
I don't want to go. I'm happy.
Okay, February 9th, drunk in public.
Oh,
Citation issued.
DCA
Great.
maybe? DCA maybe?
Yeah.
February.
Oh, yeah, Monday. This is Valentine's Day. Let's see. Jess
Yeah.
was there. Narcotics issued. Sorry. A citation was issued for narcotics, not narcotics were issued.
Just a little bit.
Yes. Trespassing, again, suspect book. Trespassing again, narcotics. So Jess was there. Mm-hmm. She was not trespassing. Who knows what's going on over there? Okay, the 15th.
I was just having a little fun.
You're having a little fun. Narcotics. I guess I'm getting a theme here. On the 15th, but wait a minute, the 17th, we have a new one. Vandalism.
Wow.
Report taken. Oh my gosh. Hopefully that was like a citizen's arrest sort of thing.
I don't know, man. If I see anybody trying to deface anything on Disney property,
What would you do?
I would tell them to stop.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I've told the story before. I was in Bart going to a baseball game.
Uh-huh.
And there were some kids like just being stupid and blocking, like thinking it was funny, blocking a small little petite woman trying to get out of the BART at her station. They thought it would be funny to block her. And I just walked over and I told them, she's trying to leave, move. They did not. So I moved them so she could get out.
Oh, yeah, I do remember this.
Okay, so you think that I'm not going to go over and tell, like, hey, what are you doing? Knock it off.
Yeah.
I would infinitely, and I know Jess would, like, probably beat me to him.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It'd be like a race, like we'd be foot racing to get there first to stop him.
Yeah. Okay, so that's vandalism. Don't do it in front of Udi or me or Jess.
Or anybody who cares that park and movie.
Okay, the 19th had narcotics and trespassing. The 20th had assault and battery.
Ooh, yeah.
Great.
No good.
Wonderful. Perfect.
And that wasn't in Toontown?
That was, well, it could have been.
Yeah, it probably was.
Grand theft on the 21st.
Ooh, that is high ticket.
Grand.
Yeah, what's grand? Is that over 1,000?
Yeah.
It went.
No, I think it's over $2,000. I don't know.
It was grand.
Is it a grand?
No, it's a grand theft.
No.
But-
I don't know what the dollar amount is for grand theft.
But what the heck? I mean, that must have been like a lot of stuff.
Well, you got to look at. If you go to certain shops, there are high-end items, and
Those crystals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean,
Yeah, it could be any of that, you know.
it could have been that, or it could have been just someone loading up a backpack.
yeah, thinking, hey, you know what? We're going to do what we do in San Francisco. Yeah, no.
Okay, it's right. Okay, wait a minute. The 24th had narcotics and trespassing again. So a very busy month.
Yeah, hold on. I got to make this comment real quick, which I find pretty funny.
Yeah.
You look at the narcotics, okay?
Yeah.
Almost everyone in here is citation issued, right?
Yeah.
The trespass, though, almost everyone in here is booked. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? For anybody listening, not that any of our listeners are going to do this, because please don't, but if you trespass in Disney, you're going to jail.
You are.
You're going to jail. It's pretty clear right there. You're going to jail. So don't do it.
Yeah.
That includes
Don't
you.
do it.
That includes you, Jessica.
I mean, I don't have to. I have an annual pass.
Oh, it's true.
Oh, that's right. You own everything now.
You do.
That's
Yeah.
right.
My park.
Yeah, that's your park. So, anyways, yeah, I thought that's always an interesting monthly report going on there. Next news item is
sad.
it's sad.
Yeah, it is. People, man, don't.
I suspect a lot more happens.
Oh yeah, there are so many things. But what I always try to say is like, you're there for enjoyment, a good time. Why? Don't be a bad human. I mean, in general, that is a rule that we should all live by. And
Yeah.
sad, there are plenty of people who don't believe that. But don't be an a-hole.
Oh.
Just don't be an a-hole.
Don't be an a-hole.
I want to say the right
be an
word, but
a-hole.
I don't want Mark to have to bleep it.
Oh, yeah.
No, leave that for me.
Yeah.
All you.
That's pass hole?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Close.
Close.
You're close, Mark.
Okay.
I'll give it to you.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Next news item is kind of funny. No, not funny, but I guess it goes on. It says Disneyland begins enforcing Magic Key pass holder no-show policy, which I think is good.
Good.
Disneyland began enforcing the Magic Key no-show policy this week after a 6-month grace period when the penalties for skipping an advance reservation were not imposed, according to Disney officials. So basically, how can a Magic? So what that means is you go ahead and go, I'm going to book Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you don't go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thus taking the spot up for someone who actually would want to go. Another pass holder, I might say, because there seems to be no blackout dates for single ticket, when you go there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So what happens? So we see, how can a Magic Key annual pass holders avoid a no-show? A Magic Key holder who enters either Disneyland or DCA before closing time of the day of the reservation is not considered a no-show. What happens if pass holders get thrown in the Disneyland penalty box? I like that. Key holders who don't show up for 3 reservations in a 90-day window will be unable to make a new park reservation for 30 days beginning the day after the third no-show.
Good.
Existing park reservations at that time will not be canceled, though. So interesting.
They can't make new ones. Well, it's a timid,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have to call a little BS on these reservations. I don't think these are real anymore because our Wednesday was jammed at the park. Like, holy cow, it was jammed. Up to the point, like pre-COVID jamness. And it's like, to the point, if someone said, hey, Mark, we're going to go on a random Wednesday in March, do you think we're going to be fine? I would have said absolutely. But then I would have felt guilty because it was jammed.
You want my theory?
Go ahead.
My theory is now people are now beginning to return. Okay.
Oh, 100%.
The now with here in California, finally, for the love of everything that is holy, the restrictions, and I air quote that, have been lifted at a huge level. So now there are many people out there, and we know a few, that have been very hesitant, very, very hesitant. So now they're like, park, woo, I don't, or people who have not wanted to go back for either price or, which I know a couple people are there, or not wanting to deal with the park in that altered state. Not wanting to deal with, well, I can't go over here, or I can only go there, or I have to wear a mask here, then I don't have to wear it there. All the crap that we've had to put up with for 2 years because of COVID. They're going away. So now they're like, woohoo, and I can go back and rejoice. And I'm glad. I'm glad for it. So we're going to have that massive influx of people that are going to begin to come. And for Disney, they're going to be like, yeah, buddy, thank God. We need to make our money.
Yeah.
But again, we're going to now we can get back. I think we're going to begin to see the normalizing of trends. I think this is the beginning of that. I think we're now beginning to have the normalization of trends where we can actually begin to track, get back to somewhat of an air quote normal traditional flow of people and when they're going to go, when they're not going to go. And I think Disney's now we're going to, again, give it another 6 months to a year. 2023 being the one I think we're really going to begin to see them begin to manipulate the keys and all their systems to really start beginning to maximize. The question is going to be how much after, because without going too far into it, we already have a lot of people complaining about the park as far as prices and whatnot, okay?
No, yeah.
I actually got sent an article about how it's cheaper to go to Paris than to go to Day in the Park, and I actually know somebody and I actually know someone who, in lieu of going to the park, is going to Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
Well, not in lieu of, but rather go like, hey, I want to go to Hawaii, go to the park. Hawaii.
In lieu of.
No, in lieu of. Not in lieu of. So it wasn't like a choice, but it was more like, I'll go there. I will go there.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. No, but that is the reality of it. So now we have to get the influx of the people going, I just need the park again. Mark, you're one.
Yep.
But the reality we're going to get back to and be like, okay, I really want the park, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay that much. I don't want to. So now I think it's going to be interesting where we begin to move forward. But again, Give it another 6 months and a year into next year, and I think we're going to begin to see the normalizing of trend again.
I think so.
we're going to go back to it.
I think so too.
Unless some government entity tries to pull shenanigans again, but I think that ship has officially sailed.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but yep.
No, we're not going to go there.
Okay.
Not the arena for it.
Nope. Yeah, I'll talk about my trip, Megan, in a second here. Next item, Disney puts Quinjet e-ticket.
Quinjet.
Sorry, what did I say?
I don't even know.
Quinjet.
Sorry.
Quinjet.
Disney puts the Quinjet e-ticket ride on hold at Adventures Campus. The first of its kind Adventures attraction will hopefully, that's in air quotes, get built once the company's post-pandemic cash flow situation improves, according to Disney CEO Bob Chapek. Okay?
This is when you get mad at Bob Chapek. These are the moments where you get mad at Bob Chapek.
So, yeah, we're going to talk more about this. We don't even know what this attraction is yet. It's a first-person shooter type of thing. Maybe. We don't know what it is. It's going to be an interactive e-ticket thing that's going to be state-of-the-art, I suppose. But along with that, the Mary Poppins experience, I don't know if that's even an attraction, at Epcot is also on hold. But
all done.
But we'll see when D23, maybe some stuff will come out for this. But I don't know. I don't particularly think that's. I don't know.
It's a bad idea.
It is a.
No. Okay. So like I've been saying for a while now.
Yeah.
There are going to be moments where we're going to be like, good, Bob.
Yeah.
Good, because we understand what you're trying to do.
Right.
And there are times we're going to want to run over and hit him with a big stick. This one I want to run over and hit him with a big stick.
Let's hit him with a churro.
No.
No? Oh.
No. Like like I'm gonna go to Pim's test kitchen and get like something and make it bigger.
A giant pretzel. Okay.
Yeah, because while I'm not privy, obviously, to financing.
Oh, you're not?
And what their books look like, clearly. But I'm gonna go out there and go like, who cares? Okay?
Yeah.
You're building for the future. You understand that right now what you're going to do is bite it. You've been doing it for 2 years. Bite it some more. You're already eating that crap sandwich. Keep on doing it, because you know at the end of the day when you're done with that, these are the things will bring people to DCA. They've been trying to get DCA to be a standalone park for years and years and years now.
Yeah.
Why would you take that away? Why would you make it a longer wait? They in my opinion, as soon as COVID was hitting, they screwed up from the word jump. Because what they did is they retracted. Understandable. Mm-hmm. But what they should have done is they should have accelerated. Everything that they had on their books, they should have said, you know what, guys, we're going to take it in the teeth. Recognize that we are going to be hurting for a year, 2 years. But if we take the investment, think about how they could have opened up the park post-COVID. Think about it. Over in DCA, we have Avengers Campus. We have this new e-ticket attraction, blah, blah, blah. Come over to the park. Over in Disneyland, we have all the things that they could have done.
Yes.
They didn't. They sat on their hands. They had wide open parks. They wouldn't have to worry about show, anything. They could have worked 24/7 on every product and gone back to the opening mentality of just freaking get it done.
Yeah.
They opened up that park in how many years? It took them 2 years to build it?
What, DCA?
No. Disneyland.
1 year.
A year to build Disneyland.
Yeah.
I mean, true, not to the scope of what we have now, but think about that. In today's age and technology, they could have been like, guys, they could have rethemed Splash. They could have redone anything. They could have done so many things. They could have refurbed the whole freaking park. That way, when they opened up, shiny, brand new. Not the crap that we have now. Unfortunately, we've seen, like I didn't make the comment before, a lot of dirty stuff. I saw a lot of crap on the ground and things of that nature. Things that could have been painted, things that could have been...
When you were with your family?
When I went with my family.
Okay.
And I'm thinking to myself, why? There was no reason. The only thing they're going to go through is like, well, we don't have cash inflow. I know, but you know you're going to get back to it.
Oh, yeah. It's...
You know whenever this is over, your company will not fold.
No.
Okay?
No.
It will not fold. Well, you have to be creative with where you're putting your money from where? Yup. So that's your job, buddy. So that's why I get mad at when I see things like that. Like, no. Do not put a stymie or slow down innovation and moving forward because, well, we don't have money right now. Shut up. Yes, you do. And if you don't have it, You can get it.
Yes.
You can sell off one of your freaking companies. Sell off Fox. What do we need Fox for? You already took all the IP. Sell off the bare bones. Do you want me to go into the fat that Disney has and say, sell that, sell that, sell that, sell that?
ESPN.
Bingo.
For starters.
ESPN.
Yeah.
ABC. Get rid of all of them. They're horrible. ESPN, please burn that. Anyway.
Anyways, enough about that. Yeah, they had the money to do it.
Anyway, they have, if they wanted to, they could have done so many things that influx into that park. And not only Disneyland proper, all the parks. They could have done it to Magic Kingdom.
Well, I
Could have
think
gone anywhere.
each park is its own little entity. As far
I know that, but it is under the umbrella. They could have been creative. It would have taken somebody with a little bit more forward thinking and a little bit more thought process and been thinking more at a forward level. That is the one problem with Chapek, is that he does not look forward. He's always looking at the here and now. That is his problem. What we need like Iger, Chapek like clone or mashup.
Mashup.
If we had that, we'd be good
Okay.
without the politics.
Yeah. Well, so
Sorry for the rant.
basically, at the end of the story, the Quinjet is going to be delayed.
Dumb.
Okay.
Sorry, Jess. What do you think?
I couldn't care less.
Okay.
I don't care about the Quinjet.
No, I don't really either.
But what about what
No.
it means though?
What does it mean?
Not the
Did
Quinjet.
you not just hear my rant, or did you tune out? You tuned out of my rant. That's fine. I understand.
No, I heard your rant, but I was thinking you were going to go like, well, it's the Quinjet and it's empowering and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's what?
Just pretty funny
Empowering.
with that.
No.
I know. That's why I was saying. That's why I don't care. Like, I don't really care about it. It's just, I don't know. I don't like Avengers Campus to begin with, so that's a whole nother, can of worms for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is such a.
Let's repeat that.
Wow, that just came right out. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I don't care. I think it's a waste of space. I think it is one of the biggest wastes of money that they have done in a very long time, like overseeing Galaxy's Edge, and that's coming from, from me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't care less.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's how I feel about the Quinjet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting takes from both you two on that.
Sorry, guys. I wish I had a better input.
No.
It's fine. But I think that's just. I think the Quinjet, whatever it is, whatever project is being delayed because of this, I'm gonna call shenanigans on that as well. Mm-hmm. Just go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm.
It could be it could be Quinjet. It could be Toontown. It could be Tomorrowland. Yes. And then we have one more news item here that Udi's going to talk about real quick. One of our listeners sent in this link to a story. Eric. Thank you, Eric. Hope you're doing well, and thank you for supporting the show. He messages us. He messages us from time to time saying, "Hey, did you guys see this? You guys see that?" And dude, absolutely appreciate it because we don't all we don't do all this stuff.
Totally
Okay.
distracted. Sorry.
Yeah. So Udi, what was that? What's the article? You can take the lead on this one.
I got distracted by a charger. Okay. So the article is from Inside the Magic. And it is basically the headline says, guests say Disney Park is facing an quote unquote identity crisis. It's a sad, outdated ghost town. Without reading the article, Jess, what do you think we're talking about?
Tomorrowland.
There you go. Exactly. Well, I'm not going to go into and read the entire thing. Let me give you the generality. I'm going to go Reader's Digest and very, very vague with it. What it's basically saying is that a lot of people are beginning to look over at Tomorrowland going, what is going on over here? Nobody wants to go there other than Space Mountain and Star Tours. Why? And they're basically kind of saying, like, you know, they need to do something over here. Mm-hmm. I mean, the gist of the article is that a lot of people are beginning to chime in with that thought process, which then automatically made me go, we've been saying this for how many years?
Several
years. That
at least 4 or 5.
At least 5. That they need to go in there and a general overhaul. So what they're doing in Toontown? Yeah, no. that should be happening over in Tomorrowland. Like, I mean, we've made the comment before that you could close off and leave the strip, the right side, going into Space Mountain and Star Tours, and the and leave it there, and do all the work on your left, and redo that, and then eventually come back over and finish that off.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, it's basically what the article is saying, that a lot of people are beginning to be a little bit more vocal about, like, hey, you've taken that out, no people mover, all these different things that have come and gone, and then but here you are doing nothing.
Right.
And they're saying even into the Magic Kingdom is facing the same issue, that Tomorrowland isn't Tomorrowland.
Well, the Magic Kingdom has a new entrance, which looks kind of cool. I was thinking that was going to come to our park, but it didn't. On that note, real quick, about a month and a half ago, my daughter was going through some old 8mm videos that we took, and from 2003 was the first time the girls went to the park, and I had a handheld 8mm camera, and I think there was a time where Ariel she was still in a stroller. She was sleeping, and I was kind of going, and this is years. This is 2003, so this is 13 years before we started the LTP. I was walking around Tomorrowland, and we were just watching it, and I totally forgot about this, but my commentary was like, man, Tomorrowland sucks. I mean, it is nothing going on here.
Yep.
I mean, it is a shell of its former self.
Yep.
I go, things are closed. This escalator to Space Mountain used to be back in the day. You could go. The escalator was coming down. Oh, it was indoors.
Yep.
That was all closed off. You couldn't do any of that. Starcade had a few games in it. The lower level was gone.
Yep.
And I was like, this whole thing needs to get redone. And I mean, it was just kind of funny back then. I was still complaining about it. I was starting to complain, but here we are, almost 20 years later, and nothing.
I mean, if anything, it's gotten worse.
Oh yeah, it's gotten worse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think it's wonderful.
Shut up.
I would bet that Tomorrowland is the least populated land by you, Jess. I don't think you go into that land at all, except for maybe Space Mountain.
And that's if I want to go on space. I don't do space every trip because I don't care to go in that land.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
to me, that's worth it for me just to go over there. But I don't hang out. I definitely don't buy stuff there.
Nope.
I mean, maybe if they seem to have the Star Wars themed popcorn buckets there, which the girls seem to like. But I didn't see any of that kind of stuff when I was there. But yeah, so that's the gist of it, right? Okay. Cool.
There you go.
Well, hopefully that's something. I don't think nothing will get announced at D23 regarding Tomorrowland. But the thing is, Disney knows this. They absolutely know this.
Oh yeah.
And they probably have a myriad of cool designs. Which far exceed the budget. Which is, I think, if you saw some of the stuff on Disney Plus when the managers are talking about it, their ideas are probably much more than what Disneyland can actually afford to do. But
yeah,
hopefully they can start releasing funds and getting things going. Yeah.
I hope
too. Okay, so that's going to wrap up the news for this episode. 101 is dark this time, but should return shortly. So now that's going to go over to our special guest for feature presentation.
And now for our feature presentation.
Well, hello, LTP listeners. We want to welcome you to our feature presentation this afternoon. We are joined by a very special guest, LTP family member, and an all-around good person and a friend of the show. It's author Marcy Carriker Smothers. Hello, Marcy.
Hello, LTP. How y'all doing?
We are doing super fantastic. I just got back from the parks Thursday night, so I was just down there for 2 days with my daughters and having a really good time. Just a great time to be alive and a great time to be fans of the park. How about you?
Absolutely.
Well, I was also just in the park at a really cool event about the World's Fair. Terrific speakers, including Bob Gurr and Garner Holt, excuse me. My friend Tanya McKnight Norris, who went with Walt and also helped to design New Orleans Square and decorated the Haunted Mansion. So, how's that for a big drop of names right there?
That's awesome. Yeah.
I like the name drops.
I saw you.
Go ahead.
I saw your Instagram posts, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so lucky to be doing this.
I do feel lucky. It's never lost on me. But really what I would say about Disneyland, because as you guys know, I write at Disneyland. I'm the reader as much as the writer. That got curtailed for a couple of years. I still would go down I live in Northern California. I would still go down just to write at Downtown Disney, just to get the vibes. And I sat right across from the Lost and Found outside Disneyland, and I would sit there strictly for the vibes. So I feel like I have gone through all the iterations. I was there the day it closed on March 13th. Then I would come back to work at Disneyland in the Downtown Disney. My daughter waited 8 hours for Touch of Disney tickets to go to Disney California Adventure, where no attractions were open, and you and you got snacks. To what we have almost back to normal today. And so that's a long way of saying the magic is alive. This last trip to Disneyland earlier in March was really very special. It felt very close to the Magic Kingdom we know and love.
Very well put. And it's ironic that we're recording this on March 13th, 2 years to the day that the park closed.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Really?
Which, Marcy, goes along with your theory about this 13 that you keep talking about.
Oh, it totally does. Yeah, Walt, my favorite number. Oh, cool.
Crazy. Before we get to your book, the last time we actually saw you in person was Udi and I came across you in your air quote office, which was the Plaza Inn. You were sitting outside typing something up, which I guess might have been the book, which is in my hand. Do you remember that day? Probably not.
I know. I remember it very well, though. I love the Plaza Inn.
Yeah.
Was one of Walt's favorite restaurants. And there on either side of the two pavilions, east or west, that corner table, or atriums, excuse me, those corner tables outside have power. So that's why I sit there. And I love Steve Bockenberg. If he's listening, shout out. Just had his 42nd year as a cast member, most of those at the Plaza Inn, and he's a good friend, so I just love to sit there. And I recall that day very well. I was only sorry that I couldn't pack up the computer and go play with you guys.
Yeah.
Yes. That was, You know what? I think, if I remember, you had tickets to special viewing of the fireworks that night or something like that.
Yeah, you remember.
And
that was my hookup from Steve. But anybody could have bought them. It was just like you. But the idea was, kind of like World of Color. It didn't matter when you were eating. You could, buy the ticket, have lunch if that were, but then come back later for the fireworks. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, before we get into this book, we had an opening question that we were just kind of talking about. And it's this. It's when you leave Disneyland and go over to DCA, or when you go over from DCA into Disneyland, does your mind change? Do you change any kind of feelings about what you're about to experience in either park, in the Esplanade?
This is a very intriguing question.
Well, thank you. Try to ask the hard-hitting questions.
I've never been asked that before. I don't think that would be at top of mind, and it's partly because we're walking into Walt's arrival at Hollywood, and it's still Walt-centric on Buena Vista Street. And there's so many homages to him and his animators and the movies. But that's a good question. I have to say that I don't, but now I think going the other way, to answer your question, when I walk back into Disneyland, then I'm definitely always feeling that extra magic.
Yes.
That's one way it doesn't, the other way it does.
Okay. Yes. Very, very solid answer. Okay. So, listeners at home or on the road or wherever you guys are listening to this show, you may not know who we're talking to, but she is an author. We first got in touch with her because she has this incredible book that I'm actually looking at on my bookshelf called Eat Like Walt. And if you just like Disneyland, even like the slightest, you need to get this book. It is so very, very, very cool, and it was and is a labor of love when she built this or wrote this. And she has just released a brand new book. I think it came out in November of 2021. Is that correct, Marcy?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so I picked it up as soon as I could, and I didn't even. In fact, I didn't even know that it was out. So I'm thinking, gosh, did this thing just come out like now, or was it out in the summer? But I ordered a couple copies, and I gave them to Udi and Jess as gifts. But I had them for about a month before I gave them away. So if you guys, if you notice that your copies have a couple bent pages, I'm sorry. I was looking. I was looking at them.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so Marcy, can you talk to us about what was the impetus for this book and how it came to be, and what did you learn from the experience?
Well, after Eat Like Walt, and I was having, which was 2017, I was having lunch with my mentor and good friend, Jim Cora. And it was really Jim, who was a Disney legend, who opened up so many doors for me when I was writing Eat Like Walt, and became a good friend, and pretty much, was up until the day he passed away, was always championing Walt's legacy and supporting anybody else that was doing the same. So when we were having lunch, he said, "What's next, kid?" And I had 3 ideas, but when I mentioned I had an idea for a guide to Disneyland told in Walt's words, or the people that built Disneyland with him, directly from the founder's heart, he said, that's it. You got to do that one, make it a priority. And he immediately told me to write to some really high level people and to copy him and to share this idea, which I did. And it was met with enthusiasm. So I started on that. And the thing about Walt's Disneyland is that Eat Like Walt, I started out with one book and ended up with kind of really a different book because it was my first one to Disney than I expected. I was really only going to write the culinary history of Disneyland. And because I got access to the family, the Disney family, and to the Walt Disney Archives, and I had learned so much about the restaurants at the studio, it just became a totally different book. It was a way to look at the Walt through the lens of food. It was still about Walt, is my point. This book is like my passion project because it's about Walt and his beloved Magic Kingdom, or as we say for our East Coast listeners, original Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
And I've been told by Diane Disney Miller and by one of Walt's granddaughters, essentially, don't pause it, don't speculate, so I can't make any, I don't try ever to speak what Walt would think or do. Instead, I had to go back and use hundreds of sources to find quotes and stories that were in Walt's words, or people that were there with him to tell the story as accurately as possible, as in Eat Like Walt, only first person accounts. And I'm here to say, I'm raising my hands. There are plenty of good fact books on Disneyland. I don't think another fact book about Disneyland is needed. My book is filled with facts, and it's got 13,000 words and endnotes in the back. But my purpose was to give you that feeling of being in Disneyland, this feeling of being maybe with Walt in Disneyland, whether you're in the park with the book or at home. It's all about what Walt wanted from us, and that's first and foremost the feelings we get when we're there.
Excellent. Well put.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't made Jess cry, but it's my goal. I've got.
As soon as you started talking about Walt's granddaughter, I was feeling something. I'm just like, oh man, like just to walk, just 5 minutes in your shoes, Marcy. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do with my life.
Well, it is. It's really the first time I was with Jenny, who is one of Walt's granddaughters. When she would say, we had mutual friends, and she would say, "Grandpa," I would have electrocution happening, or electrifying, not electrocution, electrifying, because she's talking, but it's just her, it's normal to them, of course, like anything else in the celebrity world, it's just normal to them. But I do think for Eat Like Walt, having access to the 3 granddaughters and Ron Miller, Diane was gone then, that really enriched the book, not just in the chapter of at home, and because those are first time stories ever told in many cases, but also it infused me with this idea of Walt as the human being. And that's something else that's really, really important to me, is to present him as the human being that he was, which was really extremely extraordinary and also humbly ordinary.
Absolutely. Yep. Oh, I love it.
So, Marcy, when I'm looking at the book, I find that I could pick up the book and open it to any particular spot and have a good time looking at it. Was it meant to do that, or is it meant to be read from front to back?
Gosh, you guys are just smashing it on the questions today. I feel like a game of pickleball. I better get my game going. That is also something that never occurred to me. I will say that when it comes to organizing a book, you do have to have a plan, and you have to have a plan ahead of time. With my first book that was based on the radio show I did with Guy Fieri, I just snacks, adventures, and food, aisle by aisle. I just wanted it to sort of be like a chicken soup of your soul type book. Like you could open it anywhere and then you would read that particular tidbit or snack or recipe. But my editor was like, oh, no, you have to be organized. And so that's how I came up with doing it in a supermarket by aisles. So with this, just like with Eat Like Walt, Walt's Disneyland is written as we circumnavigate clockwise around the park.
Yes.
But of course, it doesn't have to be. I mean, my goal also with the size and the soft cover, the number one, I don't want to call it complaint, comment I get, whether it be on Amazon or in radio or print television interviews, is I can't believe this isn't a hardcover book. Well, it could have been a hardcover book if I wanted, and it's the same amount of words as Eat Like Walt. It's the same amount of time as Eat Like Walt, 3 years. However, I purposely wanted this to be affordable and portable, that people could take into the park, and if they wanted, and they could, as Yuri's saying, is open it up and, oh, I'm in Adventureland. I want to read about Adventureland, and it would still make sense.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a hard, hard cover kind of person.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I couldn't envision it being a hard cover. Like, it's nice. Like you said, like I just grabbed it off of I keep it on my kitchen counter. Like I just grabbed it and, it sits up and, it's just easy to grab. And I could easily fit this in my backpack and take it with me to the park.
Yay. And the other thing is, Jess, I think it's important, at least I've come to find, is with the idea that it's value, because value was so important to him. So, on certain, it's on Disney Books, Shop Disney, and it will be at Disneyland, but you do get a reduced price on Amazon. And that makes me happy that people can get it for, tremendous value. And I think that's important. So.
Absolutely.
The thing is, with your other book and this one too, talking about hardback versus a paperback type. I've recently begun.
Oops, sorry. Apologize about that. It was my technical glitch. Continue.
All right, go ahead.
You recently?
No, because I've been reading more and more, and I've been going back and forth between a paperback book or hardback. And I'll tell you what. There is something about a hardback book that I really enjoy, like the tactile feel of it. And I get the price difference. I mean, I wouldn't mind maybe down in the future you got like maybe doing a deluxe edition.
For the LTP only, Marcy.
I know.
LTP version only.
Because I think about like a hardcover and all the really cool things you could do with that. And it just feels like, I don't know what it is with me and having a hardcover book. I just like them more.
That would be my...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, to me, I know it makes no difference on the content. I mean, the content is king, obviously. I mean, if the book is no good, who cares if it's in a hardcover? But your books are fantastic, and I'm like, I would just my own personal preference. I like that. I think it'd be cool. Yeah.
I would love the deluxe edition, and I have no say in that. But this is not my adage, and it's a known one. A book is never done; it just goes to print.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I have found so many more cool things I would like to add. And remember, even though I don't usually talk about it, I will with you guys, it was the pandemic. I did not have access to all my normal resources, not just writing at Disneyland. The archives was closed, completely closed. So I had all my scans from 2019, which I would say was 70% of my research, but there was tons of stuff I would have gone back for, things I wanted to know more about for Fantasyland but couldn't do because of that. So it is, in that sense, slightly, I don't want to use the word compromise, not as in-depth as maybe I would have liked. Also, without access to the photo library, only the digital side was, hard, or challenging. But if I could have a deluxe edition of that book in hardcover with all that I'd like to improve it with and plus it with, would be a dream come true.
Ooh, hey.
So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Let's put it out to the universe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like a revision, like a version 2 or a updated version with a updated hardback version.
Audiobook with digital pictures.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're coming up with all these, I mean, again, and it all comes from the point of how great the book is, and everything that you put into it, and the one thing that you can appreciate, which we appreciated before with Eat Like Walt, is the love that goes into the book, and it comes through, and that is one of the things that I think we always connect with what you do. Just the love of it just comes through in everything you do. So I mean, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's my goal, and that really makes me happy to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely need people like you to carry the torch forward, and this is what we're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, with everything that we talk about and what we love about the park, I mean, we talk about it often on the show about how we need to continue to remind people, like we don't need to necessarily stop. We need to always keep on moving forward, but we kind of always need to keep an eye on where we came from, and that is another aspect about what you do that is fantastic. It always keeps that kind of retrospection into where we came from. We get a level of love and respect for why we are where we are and why we like it as much as we do. So
absolutely. I love the partner statue and people going and taking the photos there, but I do think we have, all of us, you guys with LTP Leaving Today podcast, all lovers of Walt and Disneyland. Every part that they do keeps that legacy alive. And my goal is to keep his legacy alive. I will admit that I talk to strangers hardy har, like no one doesn't think I talk. But when I see little kids with their parents, and you can kind of get a vibe, whether, that they're approachable, I'll say to the kids, hi, do you know who Walt Disney is? And sometimes their eyes are glassy. Sometimes they say yes, but I always ask if they know. And I'm so happy. Of course, they know because their parents are the ones that would tell them about the kids. It's surprising. That's the other thing over at Walt Disney World, where there's not a lot of Walt. I feel there's a lot of Walt at Animal Kingdom because of his interest in conservation. You hear a lot about Walt when you're on the Rafiki train going to Planet Watch. Am I saying that right? Now my brain is in Disneyland right now. Conservation Station, and so you hear him there. But at the Riviera Hotel is my favorite little gem. There is in the back is a lounge called the Voyager's Lounge, and it's all a tribute to Walt and his travels. It has facsimiles of certain things like his cameras and his hats, but also all the books he bought. Like on one trip in 1935, the Grand Tour, he bought almost 350 books and shipped them back to the studio.
Wow.
And those 350 books are Pinocchio and Alice in Wonderland and all the things that we've come to know, or they are influences for Disneyland. So they have those books. They have receipts from some of those books, lots of little knickknacks that have to do with Walt. And then in the walls that line the hotel and downstairs in the counter service restaurant are all Walt photographs. They all relate to to European travels and the Riviera, but still it's Walt, and I love that because we're getting him at Walt Disney World. And I particularly take joy when I see parents pointing him out and saying, look, that's Walt Disney, the little kids, because our legacy keepers are going to be the little kids, and their little kids and their little kids.
Absolutely correct.
I love it. Yeah, I know. We got to keep it alive. I'm trying to get that into my nieces, and they are so that they know who he is, and that everything that he did to create the park, and his passion and love for it, and him just wanting to make something that was for parents and kids, and that I don't have children, so they see me and they see Auntie Chica going to Disneyland by herself, and I let them know that's okay. Kids, grown-ups can go too, and it's for everyone. And, yeah.
Through that. Good work, Jess.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, during research, Marcy, what did you find? What did you learn? Did something like stand out for you in particular? Like, I didn't know that.
In the book?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, there's a few.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of people didn't know that. The one is, the idea of going to the Walt Disney Archives is like Christmas. You write your wish list and then you sit down in the room and they bring you boxes and you open it and you don't know if what is on your wish list is in it until you open it and go through it, right? And one of those things was brace yourself, brace.
Okay, I'm holding on to the table.
Okay, right, bracing. Walt's park correspondence.
Oh.
So any memo to or from Walt about Disneyland.
No.
Yes,
Really?
staggering.
Wow.
Yeah, really pretty seriously wonderful, cryable, goosebumpy. But the one that I found in 1958, where Walt had been advised by Emil, it happened to be Emil Curry, that there were long lines for the Skyway going between Fantasyland and Tomorrowland. And he knew that Walt didn't like people to have to wait in line too long. So he advised him on that. Walt was responding to that memo and he said, look, we should establish a single rider line where we ask people to pair up together. And I still get goosebumps when I say it. We should establish a single rider line. 1958.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Whoa.
that was electrifying to me. And of course, that wasn't realized for decades and decades later.
No.
And then the other one was really
Wow.
that I think, again, let me say, people listening to your show probably know a lot about Disneyland. I imagine a very high percentage are annual pass holders. I used to say when I opened up my talks, raise your hand if you think you know the most about Disneyland. And everybody raised their hand, right?
Yeah.
Me too, right? We all just love knowing it. And it's fun to have the cocktail conversation and the tidbits. But
Sure.
my barometer, again, was feelings. But I know that there's a lot of stuff that people didn't know before because I have it vetted by Imagineers who have worked for 50 years and people that are very close to the subject. So that being said, sometimes you have to include what we might consider kind of ordinary because if this book is picked up by somebody that only goes to Disneyland once in their life, or it's picked up by somebody that's preparing to go to Disneyland and there's, and they may not go many times a year, I want to share it. So with Pirates of the Caribbean, of course, it was going to be a walkthrough attraction. Then it was decided that boats were going to be the conveyance. And it was Walt himself who said, we're going to have to go under the railroad tracks to the other side so we have more room to build the show. So the drop in Pirates of the Caribbean is simply to get you to the show building outside the perimeter of the berm of Disneyland. But what I didn't know until I read in the memos that I was telling you about, this was, in this case, an interview with Herb Ryman, was that Walt said, okay, we got to get them down. I'm paraphrasing, 26 feet. And so Herbie says, okay, I've got them here. They're screaming. They're getting wet. And Walt says, wait. Can I take these plans home? Of course, he could take the plans home.
Right.
Takes the plans home. He comes back. He goes, Herbie, I took your idea, and I'm paraphrasing. Herbie, I took your idea, and I made it better. Yeah. They're going to go down one drop, but then they're going to go down a second time. They'll never know it's coming. So the fact that second drop was not, it really was just Walt's idea to have something to surprise his guests. They could have had one long drop, to get you under tracks, but that was Walt's addition, and he thought it would surprise everybody. And so I just love that every time I ride Pirates from now on, I can't help but think about that. And you never know if on the boat with you somebody's never been on it, and so I always try to be quiet. Please turn off your smartphones and your iPhones. Please don't have light on.
Yeah.
But, maybe it still is catching people. Not everybody gets to, ride that attraction constantly. So that was another one that was really kind of in the super, Walt involved ways that made me so thrilled to be able to include in the book. And I only included stories in the book I only included locations in the book if there were stories. There are a lot of other locations in Disneyland I didn't mention, but that's because I could find a Walt-centric story to match it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That whole Pirates, I did not know that either.
No, not at all.
And I literally, I went, how long ago now? 2 months ago? I can't even think of January. End of January?
Yeah.
And I went with my family. First time that we'd been in the park together, in a very, very long time. And the first time for my nephew, a couple of my nephews, and we went and Pirates, and the first drop hit, and we all love it. They're having a great old time, and I'm with my youngest nephew, and I go, hold on. He's like, what? I'm like, you'll see. And I didn't want to blow that surprise for him. And then we hit that other drop, and he was excited and happy until we got into the attraction itself, and then he got scared. But that was the whole thing. That was the whole. He was like, I see him kind of shrink down. I'm like, what's the matter, buddy? He's only 7. And he's like, I'm kind of scared. And I kind of went, it's okay. And I made, by the time, you get through and we get into the, into the big scene out by the ships, he was fine. But yeah, that I did not know about Walt adding that second drop, and it makes it so much more special now. It really does.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, it's these little stories that I love, and I'm so glad that you've done the research and uncovered all this stuff. Now, there's some of the things that I learned is that I wasn't aware of really how much Walt was really involved with his ideas, and I'm looking at page. I've had it bookmarked to 101 here. It's with that sketch that Walt does on a napkin, and I'm just blown away that he actually cared about all this stuff and the detail that he was going into.
Yeah, I mean the napkin, which he actually did that. Bob Gurr had told me that he would sketch on napkins a lot in little pieces of paper, but he would also stuff them into his pockets because at this point, when Disneyland was being built, he was really famous, and he knew, that people were going to take them, and he just wanted to hold on to them. But in this case, this is the Rainbow Caverns Mine Train.
Yes.
And it's that Walt had drawn on. And it's another one. Tom Sawyer Island is an attraction that Walt solely designed by himself. Another one of this time, I think it was to Marvin Davis, where he said, or Ken, I'm don't recall at the moment, but Ken Anderson. But he said, can I take those home? Same thing. The plans for Tom Sawyer, like, yeah, you can take it home. And the way that Walt brought it back the next day is exactly how they built it. And so with Rainbow Caverns Mine Train, I found this in Disney A to Z, the official encyclopedia by Dave Smith. And I couldn't believe that there was another one that he had done first, that it was on a napkin, because I was talking about that in that area, sketching and doodling, and one that it was something that had been entirely designed by Walt. So when I wrote to the archives, and they were closed then, but I asked them about it, and they were like, oh man, we would love to do it, but we're not sure when we're going to get access into the archives to get you a scan. And then like 5 minutes later, in the luck of the universe, he writes back, he goes, you're not going to believe it, but Mike's going in tomorrow and he'll scan it for you.
Oh my gosh,
so,
yeah.
Had I not discovered it that day, like if it had been 3 days later, I wouldn't have it in the book. But because they didn't get to go into the archives every day. It was really, really tough. But yeah, thank you. I think that's really cool. And, with Tom Sawyer Island, I think that one of the things that added to it for me and telling that story was Roy's quote about Walt. He said, when we were kids playing in Marceline, we would play on this little spit of dirt with these cardboard boxes and would make these forts. And he said, I really believe that Walt thought it was real, meaning his Fort Wilderness at Tom Sawyer Island. I really believe that Walt thought it was real. And that's the sentence I ended on. So yeah, really magical.
Oh my gosh. It's great. It's great. So yeah, like listeners, if you haven't picked this book up, I highly encourage you to do it. Like some of you, listeners may not like to read a lot. I understand that, but if you like pictures, there are some fabulous pictures in this book. I mean, I have a lot of Disneyland books and I have a pretty good memory of things that I've seen, but there are quite a few that I've never seen in this book, and it makes me delighted to see. That's the word that I'm going to use. Just some crazy stuff. I mean, were there some images that you hadn't seen before, Marcy, when you did this?
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of them. I mean, I would search through, again, not being able to physically go to the archives. There are so many if it's some of these I found in a Disney book, like the beautiful Mark Davis book by Pete Docter and Chris Merritt, they had the images of Walt in the test boats for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
So I wrote to them. It turned out they helped me to get the people that own those images to be able to use them in the book. So I thank you to Chris Merritt for helping us with that.
Very cool.
Other times it would be, looking online, and then I had made a lot of notes, but it was always, there's a lot of images out there that we see on Instagram and Facebook that are not, I could never use because they're not owned by Disney or not cleared by Disney. So all the time I'm looking on social media thinking, oh, I love that image, but it's licensed by somebody else and I'm not going to be able to use it. So I was thrilled with the ones that we did get and really grateful to Mike Buckoff in the photo archives, because I would say something really generic and he would go and look for me to try to find that image to match that story. So huge shout out to Mike Buckoff.
Wow.
Excellent. Yeah, I think you're talking about those pictures from Aero Development, right? With Pirates.
Yeah, the ones from Aero. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Northern California. I mean, that. Yeah, there needs to be more about Aero in this. Not in this book, but just in
general.
In general,
Yeah.
in regards to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And that was one of the stories that kind of, you think like, why are you including this in Fantasyland? But because of those attractions that Aero built for Walt, for Disneyland, I have a brief little anecdote where he says, I hope you guys came out okay. And they said, well, actually, we lost money doing this. And he said, you lost money. I don't want you to do that. Thank you for good job, boys, and I'll make it right. Again, paraphrasing.
Yeah.
That's what he did that's what he did for Aero, because he wanted them to be a win too. I mean, a lot of these stories I have speak to Walt's character and Walt's emotion, how much Walt cared about the park, how much he cared about the guests' experience, how much he cared about value, how much he cared about cleanliness, how much he cared about quality. In one way or another, all that I would like to be the theme that is running throughout the book.
Yes, that is, well, I think you captured it well. Yeah. Okay.
No, I know. Even my, I after Mark gave it to me, and I went over and I went home and I kind of was showing it, and then I showed it to my mom, and I tell you what, my mom is the main reason why. Well, one of the main reasons why I fell in love with the park, just because of her taking me. I think she tells a story about my first trip to Disney was 3 days before I was born. It was, and I handed her the book and I said, "Look at this book, Mom. This is an amazing book." And I had just begun to look through it literally that night, because Mark just gave it to me, and she just grabbed it, and I didn't get it back from her for like 3 days, I think it was. And she was like, "Oh my goodness!" And she, instantly saw what it was, and she started going through it, and she started pointing out, oh, this and that, and she started just going off about all the pictures and all the stories. And so, yeah, like I said, she didn't give it back to me for 3 days. So she really enjoyed it, and I just want to pass that on. And
Thank you.
Yeah, again, just because you can tell how much passion goes into that book. I mean, it's great. So, yeah, I mean, people are out there, and they're going to, when you pick it up, like I keep on telling people, Mark said it, go get the book. You're going to connect with the book. You like the park, you like Walt, you're going to connect with that book. There's so much good stuff in there.
Yeah, and I can see this because, like I said, I was just at the park on Wednesday, and I was going through the Emporium and everything, and there are no books to buy, to pick up. And if this book was there, and if I didn't already have a copy, I would have bought it, because it helps you. I don't know if you guys are the same way, but when I'm leaving the park, like the day after, I'm trying to connect again. I'm trying to think about things that I saw, and was there more about this? And this would be a great companion to have to rekindle some of those feelings and thoughts. That do you guys do the same thing, Jess, Marcy?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you have to plan your next trip when you're leaving, otherwise it makes you sad.
I know. I've never been that person that goes, you know what? It's going to be a cold day in heck when I'm going to Disneyland again because it's so crowded. I hear people say that kind of stuff, or it's too expensive, but I'm always thinking, as I'm walking out, thinking, okay, when are we going to go again? Are we going to go in the summer? Are we going to go in the fall? Or sooner or whatever? So I'm always planning my very next trip.
Absolutely. That's what Shannon and I do. We're at the airport and going home, and we're booking our next flight.
Oh, you're going to say something, Marcy?
Oh, no. I was just, same. I was just going to comment on, I feel this is off the book topic, but personally, I feel that the reservation system is making the experience nicer.
You know, that is kind of interesting.
I hate to open up, a hot topic, but
No.
you know,
we are not afraid.
No, I like it.
Yeah, we're unafraid here. I guess that there are pluses and minuses to it. We were just talking about it, weren't we, Mark?
We were, because Wednesday, when I was there, it was so crowded. Like, I could not believe how crowded it was. And I had the question, I go, are they even doing reservations right now? Because it seems like everybody was there.
you know why?
Was it spring break or?
Yeah, it's funny. One of the VIP guides told me that as a friend, nothing official, but that the Southern California $67 or whatever passes are Monday through Thursday, like last couple of weeks, because I definitely noticed that increase, and I'm glad that they get access for that, because a lot of people didn't end up renewing their annual pass. So there was a point where those fairly priced tickets, and I'm so glad they're available, were happening Monday through Thursday. And that's why it was more crowded, as I understand it, which makes perfect sense, and then as those tickets go away, it'll go back to the algorithm. But I just am for equity is my thing. And that everybody gets access. And, I think that they are figuring out something on the fly pretty well. Well, it's Disney World, because it's so big and there's 4 parks. I am a pass holder there too, and I'm spending more and more time at Walt Disney World. Well, because the Walt Disney World I co-wrote. I wrote the stories for the recipes and stories from the most magical place on earth for Walt Disney World's 50th, and I have some other special projects, so I can talk about one of them, but later. But then I'd have been going so much, I thought, it's like we figure out the pass, whatever the cost is, after 5 or 8 trips or whatever it is, depending, you've paid for the pass. So I got a pass there too. But I've never had an issue getting in there, because I think it's just there's so much available. And at Disneyland, a few times I couldn't get in, but I've been lucky. So we'll see. I hope they can improve it and make it fair to all. That's all I have to say on that.
Oh, yeah. I think probably next year, by this time next year, we're going to have probably something akin to what we had before COVID.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. I mean, we actually said that earlier, and that we think that after 2022 and as we go into 2023, we'll get a little bit more of a evening out, equalizing of everything. Coming off of the pandemic, everything just got thrown into a hat and shaken around for a couple of years. Nobody knowing what was up or down. But yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, that would make sense that if they did the SoCal Pass.
Yeah.
We've said it often. One thing that makes Disneyland Park so special and unique is it is a locals park, and we consider ourselves locals, even though we're up in NorCal now. But that makes total sense, and I'm glad that they would do that. I mean, without going too far off on a tangent, a lot of people are being super critical coming off of the pandemic and what Disney's doing as a whole, and how they're treating the park. So it's going to be interesting as we move forward here. And whatever they can do to make it more accessible for everybody, I'm all for it.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, Mark and I fall into that same realm about we haven't renewed yet. Jess did. We haven't renewed yet because we're kind of waiting to see how everything kind of shakes out. Because, Mark, without taking the words out of your mouth, you said you miss the park.
I absolutely
so
missed
did
the park.
I.
Yeah, absolutely missed the park.
And I know we're not alone. And so, I hope they get that going pretty quickly.
I have confidence. I really do. I think that I'm a firm believer that their job is starting from Walt down is hospitality and taking care of the guests. And so I'm going to lock in my answer that I believe it's going to work out even better than it is with it. But I did end up getting the Dream Key, and I was worried. Like, I remember the day I was at Disneyland, the day it went online, and people were just like staring at their phones. Remember how slow the queues go? Like, there was some fear that they were going to sell out, and then they did sell out. Yep. So that's going to be, it's going to be interesting what evolves from the different tiers. But anyway, enough about the passes.
Sure. Well, what do you?
Go ahead.
Enough about the passes. What are you looking forward to, like the next year or so at the park?
Well, I know one that I'm really looking forward to is in Toontown. So when first of all, Mickey's Runaway Railway is one of the greatest attractions ever built for the parks.
Wow.
And it is the first attraction ever that is designed for Mickey and Minnie. So it makes that extra special. And it's just pure delight. If I could, I've gotten back in line again at Walt Disney World. I think, so I've spent some time on it, and it's taken me hours to be able to ride it this many times. So I'm really, really excited that that's coming to Disneyland. And also the Dreaming Tree. So in Marceline, Walt had what he called his dreaming tree, and he would lay under it with his sister Ruth with the jumbo pad and the crayons his Aunt Margaret gave him, and he would draw and dream. And he said this in person, so this is a first-person account to someone I know. That's my dreaming tree, the birthplace of imagination. And it's on the original Disney family farm where Walt's barn is, the same barn that you can find a replica of at the barn, Walt's barn in Griffith Park. Because Walt built... for his home in Carrollwood, he built a replica of his barn in Marceline. And when that house sold in Los Angeles many years after Walt passed away, Diane Disney Miller had the barn where that was considered the birthplace of Imagineering, because that's where he worked on his plans for Disneyland. That's where he had his miniatures, which had a big impact on Disneyland. That's where he switched his train. Was all in that barn. And the original barn from Walt that Walt built is now at Griffith Park. If you're in Southern California, it's open on the third Sunday of every month, and it's a fantastic attraction. Also, it's the only free Disney attraction in the world. Okay. But that's also where the Dreaming Tree is. Then the Dreaming Tree in Marceline got hit by lightning and destroyed. They made 3 saplings. One they replanted on the Disney family farm, which you can visit for free in Marceline. The other they gifted to Disneyland on the occasion of its 50th birthday. And at the time, that was planted near the Mark Twain Riverboat landing. And I was going to try to find it, and I couldn't find it. And I was sending my friend in Marceline pictures. No, that's not it. That's not it. Finally, thanks to somebody at Disneyland, I got with the horticulturists, which, by email, and they confirmed to me that the Dreaming Tree was moved to the Lakota Village behind the teepee. So when you're either in the Canoe or the Columbia or the Mark Twain, you can see Walt's Dreaming Tree at Disneyland. And now they're building one for Toontown. And so the Dreaming Tree, according to Disney Parks blogs, will be built, and it will be an artificial one, but it'll be an homage to Walt's original Dreaming Tree in Marceline, also in Toontown. So yes. I'm excited about those 2 things coming.
Absolutely, for sure. I agree with those.
That's exciting. Yeah, I'm excited. That's awesome. Oh, that's going to be so neat.
Is it time to make Jess cry yet?
Yeah, you can
do that anytime.
I didn't wear makeup on purpose.
Okay, so this is the other story of what was really important to me, is that when I learned about Walt's last day at Disneyland from in the archives, October 14th, 1966, I had read about what he had done entertaining the Medal of Honor recipients. And I had asked my person at the archives, can I put this neat like Walt? They weren't quite ready for me to be able to do it. But with Walt's Disneyland, I got permission essentially to enter it into Disney history. And so when I was writing it early on, I wrote to the Congressional Medal of Honor Society in Charleston, South Carolina, because what's interesting is I found with a lot of stuff, people weren't saving things in Walt's era. So it turns out that the program, the menu, the tickets, and this image of Walt, none of it lived in the Walt Disney Archives. It all was owned by the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. So I had to ask them for those images. So I wrote to the archivist, and she said, sure, when you get closer, let me know. So I was in Lexington in 2020 writing during the pandemic at my friend's farm, and I look on a map, it's like only an 8-hour drive. So I wrote to her and I said, could I come down and visit you to discuss using these images? Of course, Walt was a fierce patriot, and there's the Medal of Honor recipient is a huge honor. It's interesting, very few of them are given posthumously. Most of them are given to people that are still living. So when I arrived early at Patriots Point, which is where the USS Yorktown is, docked, which is the home for the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. Everyone's really quiet. It opens at 9. It's 8:45, and then all of a sudden I see these firefighters in full gear in, Charleston heat and humidity summer, walking onto the ship. And I looked at my watch and I realized it was 9/11. I had no idea it was 9/11. I'd set this date weeks in advance. And so that in itself was pretty emotional.
Wow.
When I got into the office, the archivist, we were talking because it's obvious you've done your homework, et cetera, et cetera. And then she said, come on into the library and meet this person who was in charge. I believe he's a retired high-ranking military. And he was kind of looking me up and said, why do you want these images? Said it very nicely. And I said, well, Walt was a patriot through and through. Abraham Lincoln was his hero. He used to say, that his spine was red, white, and blue, that, you could see American flags in his eyes, again, paraphrasing. And he posted the Medal of Honor. He paid for them to come to Disneyland. I said, as far as I know, that's the first time the Medal of Honor recipients ever went west of the Mississippi. And he's looking at me like, he said, and I said, and I'm honored that I'm here on the day that Sergeant Major Patrick Thomas is getting his Medal of Honor today, and that he is the recipient for this year. And he looks at me and says, so to call them recipients? And the archivist is like, she's done her homework. because they're not winners. People, even Walt called them winners. But these men, and one case woman, Alice Walker, I believe her name is, a physician, were patriots, and they may have been heroes, but they don't see themselves separate from all the other people that were doing the same thing. So they're called recipients. So I passed that test and that test, and I ended up getting all those materials. But what's really remarkable is the image in the back of the book. It is believed to be the last photo taken of Walt at Disneyland. And in addition to the program material that I asked for and they gave me, was really wanting that image. Now, I can't say as a Disney historian that it is the last image of Walt taken at Disneyland. A lot of people say it's the one that's on the cover of Eat Like Walt.
Yes.
Of Walt, and I figured that out in my research. That it was done in August 1966, and it was not the last image. Probably the last image of Walt was taken on the stage recording the Epcot movie at the studio. But at Disneyland, if this isn't it, it's one of the very last, because of course somebody could have had that image in have an image in the camera, or their grandparents' attic, or something else. But the idea of October 16th, 1966 being Walt's last day in Disneyland, and he didn't know it, and he was entertaining the Medal of Honor recipients, and it was one of the proudest patriotic days, and that he would never go back to Disneyland again, and now it's Disney history. And so I will go to the park every October 16th. I would love to see it that they make the flag retreat special that day. I did explain to the person at the Medal of Honor Society that Walt had established a flag retreat. That helped too. But I just felt it was just incredibly important to honor Walt on that day. And so that made me especially proud to be able to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm a little choked up here. Because
Go ahead, Mark.
We were looking at this as you were talking about it. And it's just, it means a lot, honestly. Yeah.
There's a lot of days in Disney history, and I put some in the back that I thought were important. But I think that day is really special. So let's, every LTP listener that can go there on October 16th and, be at the flag retreat. It's usually at 4:30.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm actually looking at the date right now.
Yep. I was going to say, Rudy, what's the day? I mean, I'm an annual pass holder. I can go, or a magic key holder.
Magic key holder.
It is on a Sunday.
October 14th. I'm sorry.
October 14th.
Friday.
My addled brain. I'm getting through a cold.
That would be on a Friday this year. I think we got to go. You got me choked up. You had me on the verge of tears. Honestly, if you didn't get Jesse, you almost got me.
Yeah, when you said
and the funny part of it is that first of all, I apologize. October 14th. I'm in a whole other book which we can talk about before we close. Yeah. But is that the other funny part of the story was that on the ticket that they got, which entitled them to all the Disneyland attractions, it said shooting galleries accepted. And when Walt got up to give his remarks, he goes, "We've got the Medal of Honor winner here, and we won't let him shoot." He thought that was like so crazy, and so he said, I think it was Dick Nunes, but he was like, "Let's get this fixed so if they want to go to the shooting galleries, then there were two that they could do that." So,
oh my goodness,
yeah.
Oh man. Whew.
I love the fact that, you know, patriotism is embedded in Disneyland.
Yeah.
And that's never lost on,
Absolutely.
and it's never lost on me.
No, I you know, even with my mom, sadly, I mean, unfortunately, we didn't get to go when she was there. She just got sick. But she said, like, we need to go. I mean, I go, Mom, 4:30, flag retreat. She's like, yes, we need to go. Like, it wasn't even a question, you know? And that is, I explain that to people all the time. Like, flag retreat is something really special. And I'm glad.
It is underestimated for sure.
my
And,
God,
you know, and that's also changed remarkably through the pandemic. When it opened, you know, then they stopped letting anybody encircle the pole, and it was all marked off. And now they've got it where the veterans can go and active service can surround the pole again. So that is another thing that made me so happy about my visit a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Excellent. So
Yeah, I'll have to go to that when we're there. I go next week. Yeah, next week.
Next week, yeah.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the future, so Marcy, you were saying that this book will be available at the parks sometime this year?
Yeah, well, it will be. It is in reprint, so it sold out at the park. It was at Off the Page, and it was at Wonderland Gallery. And, you know, of course, my big thing will be always for it to be at the Music and Sparkle and Pin Shop on Main Street, USA. But it is in reprint. And I don't think they're going to come back online until April. So yes, that's where they are. And I'll keep you posted about Stage 9 and in Sacramento and on my website, marcycarrikersmothers.com. If I'm doing anything, you know, significant, I put it up there. But pretty much I'm home writing now my next book, which is for, drum roll, National Geographic. And a lot of people do not realize that Disney acquired National Geographic. If you have Disney Plus, you see it on there. So it is the Walt Disney Company's 100th anniversary in 2023. And there's all sorts of special projects happening. I had just finished a Delicious Disney, Recipes and Stories from the Most Magical Place on Earth with Pam Brandon, and Walt's Disneyland, A Walk in the Park with Disneyland concurrently. And they went to print last July, and I was like done. June and July, I was cooked. But then my editor said, you need to call me and about this opportunity. Do you want me to throw your hat in the ring to write 100 best Disney adventures of a lifetime? So believe it or not, I said no. But then, you know, I was just so tired, you know, it's like, you know, and then, but then it just took me a few minutes. Like, I'd be crazy not to throw my hat in the ring. So I got hired. And so I started in July, right after that call, 2 weeks later. And it will be debuting at D23 Expo. Are you guys going?
No, we're not.
No.
We're not going to that. No.
I know. We got it 1 year.
I know. It's so great. I won't go on and on. And so there's going to be 2 editions. There's going to be the regular edition, and there will be a deluxe edition. And the deluxe edition will have some special material and some really cool things. So it's been a complete joy to work with National Geographic. And they're really 100% behind this book. It's a very different book for me because you'll feel the heart. But, you know, we've vetted across all the company's platforms, from cruises to parks to this to that, about what you think are the best adventures in your category. And then I added a lot, because I also felt free things were really important, and not just like, it's not all about just big bucket list items. It's things like hidden Mickeys and pin collecting and trading and all that. And then I was able to add what is going to be, for me, that with you guys, the most exciting to share is that I said, what if we have an Adventure with Walt series? And they go, what would that be? And I said, well, I'll tell everybody about their non-Disney company-owned places, but cool things you could do, like Walt's Barn that we discussed, like going to Marceline and the Walt Disney Hometown Museum. You know, everything from restaurants that you could go where Walt went to, such as the Tam O'Shanter, Uncle Robert's Garage, the F-First Studio, the kind of little treasure hunt, Hyperion, and where the other studios were, or Chicago Birthplace, where Walt was born. So it's like an opportunity, obviously Walt Disney Family Museum, an opportunity to connect with Walt directly and the history of Walt. So there's 10 of those entries in the book, and I'm thrilled about that because it is the Walt Disney Company we're celebrating. So
Yeah.
why not celebrate Walt himself?
I love the idea.
Oh man,
And so
that is
it's
great.
a lot of Walt. Whenever I could get Walt in there, I did. Even like in one entry, it was like, well, Walt had the idea of making cues interesting from the beginning, which he did. Now, of course, with the the Play Disney app, and if you're in the know on certain things, there's magic in these cues, right? It's not just the way that, not just visual to look at, but actual things you can do. So anyway, that's what I'm working on, and then I will another Disneyland book, which I'm just contributing to, and it doesn't come out till next year, so we'll wait. On that one.
Okay.
And then that's it. That's my story on the books, guys.
Okay.
Oh, that's so exciting. Oh yeah, no, more books for my coffee table. I love it.
Yeah, National Geographic will be what you guys are all saying about the look and feel of having a hardcover, for sure.
Oh, very cool.
That book will deliver.
Okay, looking forward to that. So which means we need to go to D23 at some point. Maybe. Yeah.
We
One
always always wrestle with that one.
We do. Okay.
Well, you got 2 more years, if not this year. I know it's a big ticket item, and I know it requires a lot of diligence to get a ticket.
Yeah.
And it's just something, something to aspire to and something to look forward to. It is one of the 100 Disney adventures of a lifetime. So I definitely included that one because I truly believe it is. So
it is.
I can't wait for
we'll
that.
have to go.
Yeah, for sure.
No, but I can't wait for that book. Because exploring beyond, the parks is always exciting for me. So
Yeah.
and then have that connection and have that all tied together. How amazing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, super exciting.
Yes. Now, before we wrap this up, I actually wanted to get your permission on something, Marcy. Since I have Eat Like Walt, I'm looking at it right now. I have been flirting with the idea of doing an Eat Like Walt party at my house at some point to invite my friends, and I'm going to divvy up a list. Do I have your permission to do that?
Oh gosh, you know what? I love the idea, and please do. And also on Instagram, there is somebody who did Cooking with Julia. Only he made every single recipe.
Really?
Oh,
In the entire book, it's something Bertha. I'll have to get that
Okay.
to you guys. I'm sorry, I can't think of it off the top of my head.
No worries.
Yeah, and it was really, really cool. So I love that. In fact, I just met somebody who did that party, and then when I was at the World's Fair event. A new friend, because of course you make so many new friends at Disney, said that she did that for her boyfriend.
Oh.
And it was like it was like what she called it, Eat Like Bob, but it was she said Eat Like Walt gave her the inspiration. So she made all of his favorite foods. So yes, please do, and please tag me in all the posts on Instagram so I can see what you chose to make and how it all turned out.
Okay, excellent. We will do that. LTP listeners, we highly encourage you to get this book on Amazon or hopefully soon in April. I'm hearing you can get at the parks.
Yeah.
Yes, could do that. But we are also going to be giving away a signed copy of this book, and I'm going to think of a question to ask, or
A contest. I don't know. We'll have to think about it because,
a contest.
Yeah.
Okay, but we will be giving away a signed copy of this book. So we're looking forward to doing that. So stay tuned for that. What else? Oh, Sacramento. Yes. Over at our friends, Troy, over at Stage 9 Entertainment Stores.
Yep.
He's going to be, I'm guessing Marcy will be doing a book signing there sometime in the next couple months. Is that right?
I definitely. I think this is a matter of him getting the books in and setting a date. But I just love Stage 9. I actually think downtown or Old Town Sacramento is got so many things that are similar to Disneyland. It's ridiculous, from the soda fountain to the train tracks to the Esmeralda fortune teller. I love it down there, and he's a great partner, and I love his store. I probably spend too much money when I go.
Well, I know. We went down there and interviewed him. How long ago now? Like a month ago, maybe.
A month ago.
I saw it on your Insta. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was great. And so I can't wait to go meet up with you there. I mean, that whole vibe, that kind of vibe is, I can't wait to get it.
Marcy.
Oh yeah, no, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And not that you need any more projects or ideas or anything, but are you just doing a book signing there, or are you going to be going having a question, like a Q&A thing downstairs?
I think both. It's like what we did for Eat Like Walt when, in that case, several of his, patrons and regular people chose the meat. They made Eat Like Walt food. It was amazing. There's like 7 or 8 Eat Like Walt dishes. So I don't have the details, and I will, as you'll see it come up on Stage 9's Instagram.
I will.
And please hope to see you guys.
Oh,
there.
you will.
Oh, yeah,
Plug
no
it on
doubt.
a future podcast. That'd be great.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask Troy if I can record that, whatever your Q&A is down there, just like a little bit, and maybe talk to some listeners or some fans, because I don't think people are going to come to see us. But but I'm going to see if I can somehow get us involved with that.
Yeah,
That'd be
great.
fun. That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. So excellent. I want to say thank you so much, Marcy, for taking time out of your Sunday afternoon to hang out with us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I feel very privileged and honored that you want to hang out with us on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. It's always a pleasure and joy, and let's all work together to keep Walt's legacy alive.
Absolutely.
We will for sure.
Yes,
Okay, guys.
yes.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I'll see you soon up north.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Marcy.
All
Have
right.
a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Marcy.
Take care,
Thank you,
guys.
Marcy.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, and that
I
was
freaking love her.
Yeah.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she feels like she's one of us, or we're one of her. I don't know the correct way to say it.
Yeah, we always talk about it, and we talk about this off air all the time, and how just Marcy's just a good human being, and one of the main things that one of the pluses that being a fan of Walt and Walt Disney is that we get to meet amazing, just good-hearted people. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
The work that she does to preserve Walt's legacy is invaluable. And that, I think maybe that's one of the reasons why we've connected so well with her, is that we all have that same thought process. We all recognize that these are important things that we need to preserve and to carry on. So, I love her to death. Great, just a great person.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super grateful for knowing her and having her just be so willing and so open with us all the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
can't wait to see her again.
Yep. And all you listeners, if you're anywhere near Northern California, please stay tuned for that at Stage 9 Entertainment when she's there. Because not only do you get to buy a book from her, you get it signed, but you also get to support Troy and just keep
And
this.
her?
And, well, yeah, that's right. You buy a book from her and her, you get to meet her, and you guys will instantly enjoy her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Nope. I will definitely be bringing my book for her to sign because
Yep.
I have to.
You have to.
You gotta.
And yes, and listeners, stay tuned because we will be giving you guys a signed copy.
You're gonna have to figure that
contest.
out. We're gonna
Yes.
have to, and we're gonna make it difficult. I think we're gonna have to make it difficult.
Yes.
We'll figure it
Well,
out.
I mean, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then we'll have, I'm in the works to get another interview on to where hopefully we can get like another giveaway thing to do with that as well.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
We are working. We're gonna transition. We are working on what 1, 2, 2 more interviews, and I'm working on a third.
Oh, I don't know about this.
You don't know about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, great.
Awesome. Well, you have a trip report, Mark.
I do. And so, yeah, we'll just wrap this up, and then we'll just end the show. So, yeah, I was there for Villains Night on the 8th, I guess. 8th and 9th. 9th, I was at the park. Just I'll give you a very quick report. A Villains Night, a ticketed event starting from 8 till 12 at DCA, but they let us in at 4:30. Overall, I'm going to say that the party was meh. You wouldn't know that it was a Villains Night
Really?
at all. They could have called
What?
it. Seriously, it's the only.
I saw so many villains on TikTok.
If you want to stand in line for 45 minutes to get a picture with someone, you can, but there was no villains roaming around. They were only in certain spots. And they basically had Descendants music was on the soundtrack, was the whole night. It was just this music. There was no special announcement that there was party going on. And they had the green and purple sign on Buena Vista Street that said, "Hey, Villains Night." And I took a picture of it. And besides that, they had special treats. That was really it.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't anything.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't anything like Oogie Boogies. I was thinking it'd be more akin to that.
Do you think you're spoiled by Oogie Boogie though?
A little?
No.
I mean, when you have a theme night,
Yeah.
you have a level. I mean, and really, Oogie Boogie is kind of like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So to answer, I mean, if you like Disney bounding, that's the term, yeah.
Yeah.
And wearing the costumes, this is a great venue for that because we saw a lot of that kind of stuff, and there's some really really good talent out there for that kind of stuff. But I think I'd be hard pressed to do it again, unless it was at Disneyland. Then you get a lot of access to stuff that I would love to do. But so it was okay. I'd probably out of 10, I would probably give it a 4. That's where I sit on that. But the saving grace was, they did Guardians of the Galaxy, Monsters After Dark.
Fun.
And some of the food was actually pretty good because we got to go to Food and Wine Festival too. They were ramping that up until 11. So,
okay.
Yeah, so that was what we got. We all picked out probably too much food, but that's okay. So that was a great time. Mostly, I really just enjoyed being at the parks with my daughters. It was just a great time just to do everything. Disneyland the following day was just magical. They closed at 10 and we stayed until 10. The only bad part was that we got the Genie Plus, and I found that to be very very helpful. But one thing I'll comment about all this Genie Plus was that we didn't use it for Big Thunder because there was a 40-minute wait, and I go, that's fine. We can just do that. I don't want to burn it on something because you can only use it once.
Yep.
So we actually did the standby for Big Thunder, and we got all the way around to where they merged, and we were one family behind. There was a family of 4 in front of us, and there's 3 of us. And he said to the people who were standby, "Hey, how many in your party?" And they said 4. Okay, just hold on. And they opened up the the Genie Plus crowd, and he let 60. I counted 60 people in, held that up, opened up our line. Let the 4 people in, held us up, and then let, I think, 35 people in, 36 people in from that, and then asked how many were us. I go 3. Merged us into them, and they just repeat this process. And I was telling the girls, I go, are you paying attention to what they're doing here? People are getting upset for standby line because they didn't pay the extra $20 like we actually did, but we didn't use it for that particular attraction. And they're just letting this whole flow of Genie Plus people go in. So the ratio was not good.
I wonder though if it happens to be that particular operator.
I don't know.
I'm
not sure if they're giving. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're giving.
Because I'll give you my experience. It wasn't like that at all.
Okay.
They were keeping everything pretty flow. I mean,
even?
Yeah. From what I recall, I never got that feeling that we were being either when we used it or didn't use it, that we were being unevenly, distributed or let in at any uneven rate. I mean, clearly when you had the fast passport, you went in quicker.
Sure.
But it wasn't anything crazy. The only attraction that was screwed up from the word go, which I don't know why it always seems to be, Guardians.
Really?
It is always a long line when you do a fast pass for Guardians. I don't get it.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I looked at the line. I'm like, what? Like it came out, coming out. It went left, went down, and went into Avengers Campus. I'm like, what? I'm like, and I look over at the standby. I'm like, we're going over there. And my family's like, what? No, the line is long. I'm like, no, we're fine. Trust me. 30 minutes in, boom, done, gonzo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would I never get that? But yeah,
I don't get it either. Yeah. Well, I mean, I could say the same thing for Matterhorn.
Yeah.
That fast pass or whatever they're calling it.
Oh no, I will tell you when we use it for that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was quick.
Oh, was it? See, ours was backed out.
We were on in 5 minutes, man. It was great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. All the food was great at Disneyland. We ate lunch at Carnation. Well, I should say the day before we ate at downtown Disney, and the plan was, okay, we got to pick some place where we're not gonna. Oh, hold on, I'm backtracking here. first night dinner, Trader Sam's. It was the first time both my daughters can drink. So we did that. Had a great time there. Following day, we went to Downtown Disney, and the only rule was it has to be somewhere we've never eaten before, and it was Tortilla Joe's. We've never been there.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I'm adding it to the list of standard issue places now. And then Carnation at Disneyland the following day. Again, it was super crowded. Did not ruin my day at all because we're pretty good at navigating things and knowing where to go. But I was telling the girls, though, because of what you had mentioned, Jess, about these posted times aren't exactly accurate.
No.
No.
And Jess, you made the point that you're wondering if they were inflating them on purpose to kind of maybe try to get people leaned over into, using the magic genie or the genie, whatever. What do we call it?
Genie Plus.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I kind of went, I don't know, maybe there's a level of that, but I don't know. I think they inflate them on purpose because nothing would be worse of you. I'll put it this way. Here, I'm going to give you 10 bottles of wine, Jess. I know you like wine.
Okay.
And then I walk up and I give you 8. And you'd be like, hey, dude, you said 10. Oppose that and it's like, hey, Jess, I'm going to give you 10 bottles of wine. And I walk up and I give you 13. I was originally always going to give you 13. But I said 10. Because why? Because now you feel like, oh my gosh, look how cool you are. You gave me 13 and you said you only had 10.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, okay, they're going to tell you 45. And when you go through in 35 or 30 or 20, you're like, dude, that was cool. We went and look at what they said.
Yeah.
So I think it's a hat in hand, kind of like a both kind of a thing. Like, oh, if the casual park goer is going to be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'll buy that because they're going to spare me that.
Sure.
People like you and I, we're going to look at the line. We're going to physically look at the line and go like, that ain't going to be no 45 minutes. Like for Rise,
Yeah.
it says 90 minutes. I looked at where we're at. I'm like, 30 minutes. Here we go. Like, no way. I'm like, put it on the clock. 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We're through.
Oh.
So that's what I'm saying. So for the people who don't go to the park that often, I think there's a level of that. Like, oh my gosh, look at these wait times. And if I get that, I can skip all that. Sweet.
Oh, I think I would. I mean, I enjoyed having Max Pass, so this is no.
Oh no, it is still good.
Yeah.
Not as good, but it still works.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I think my point was, like, yes, I agree they might be doing it a little bit, Udi, like to kind of make people happy that their line wasn't that long.
Mm-hmm.
But like I will until the day I die keep going back to Thunder. What did they say it was? They said it was a 25-minute wait. It took me 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's way too over-exaggerated.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that.
It's just too much of an exaggeration for it to be like, oh yeah, it's a 25-minute wait. It took me 6 minutes. I'm sorry. F off. I'm sorry. Frozen off.
Frozen off. Yeah, that's the F word.
That's the F word. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll let you know what it's like in, 7 days.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, great time. We got to do, I think, 10 different attractions and casually walk around the park enjoying it. So it was no issues for us anywhere. I did. Let me see. I was looking for some merchandise, and to me, there's nothing I really liked at all. I'm like, you guys, I don't know. It's them kind of dropping the ball. No, the girls were going to buy one or two, but they did not like anything that they saw. A lot of it was already picked through, or some stuff that they didn't even like, a theme they didn't like.
Okay.
I saw nothing that I wanted, like a T-shirt. I was looking for a T-shirt or something, and I didn't see anything. So no big deal. I'll go back again and try to find something. The only other complaint I had was that I waited in line at Gibson Girl at the end of the day to buy ice cream for everybody.
No, don't tell me.
I'm telling you, they ran out of milk almond fudge.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah, and I go, you don't have it? And they go, no. And I go, okay, well, I guess I'll have, to make Jess happy, I'll have mint chip.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, so I got a cup of mint chip. And,
oh, my God.
I didn't get the waffle cone because I think it works better with the milk almond fudge. So whatever. I saved like 600 calories. That's no big deal. Other than that, though, I really wanted to get an annual pass. I felt like it felt great to be back there. I did not get it. I'm going to wait till next year or whenever it becomes a little more, to my liking, whatever the terms are. But no, just absolutely a fun time to be there, and looking forward to going again.
Yep.
So that is the trip report for me. Okay. That's going to wrap up episode 150. So I'm very impressed. I'm amazed that we're at 150. It says a lot.
Crazy.
Yeah, it says a lot, for people listening.
Again, after me thinking we hit our peak on 4, man.
Yeah.
146
episodes later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, downloading this show. If you want to get involved, you can, because the show is brought to you by you guys. Patreon, we make it super simple. $1, $3, or $5. Just go to leavingtodaypodcast.com. You can reach us at info@leavingtodaypodcast.com if you want to send us an email, and people do. And that is that. Go check out Marcy's new book, Walt's Disneyland: A Walk in the Park with Walt Disney, and you'll love it. If you love listening to how she speaks and comes to her conclusions and stuff, it's imagine her talking and reading it. She's the real deal with this stuff. And again, it's like her previous book, Eating Like Walt. It's a labor of love, and it's a really, really good read. If you like rare pictures of the park, they're in there. If you like cool stories about the park and Walt, it's all in there. Really good stuff. And like I said, we'll be giving away a copy of that. And stay tuned for when she is going to be signing these books. All right, Jess, where can people find you?
Well, I'm actually on Instagram right now, but hold on, because I have some exciting news for you guys.
All right.
Okay, so my Instagram is it's Storybook Jess. My Snapchat code is somewhere way down in my Instagram feed.
You need to probably put it back in there again.
You know what? Why don't you put it back in there?
I don't
again?
even know how to use.
Is that what she said?
No. And I'm going to go no.
And then my Facebook is Jessica Farfan, and then our podcast Facebook page is Leaving Today Podcast. 2 words, Leaving Today Podcast.
Okay.
Did you have anything, an announcement? What were you saying? I'm like, what? Like
exciting news.
You're like, I got exciting news, and then nothing. What are you saying?
No, because I'm going to the park next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a message from someone, and they said, because I posted a picture of my new tattoo, and they said, "Oh my God, I love the tattoo. I also been meaning to message you, as we are going to be in the park the same day I heard you say you were in the last episode. I would love to get to say hi. I'll be there on the 22nd, my birthday. Let me know if you think it would work to meet up."
Who dat?
I said, absolutely it would work to meet up. I said, maybe we can get a few rides together. It's Jennifer, J Vendetta.
No way.
Oh, Jennifer's going to be there.
Oh, yeah. How great.
Well, make sure you get a picture.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I just shot her my phone number. I said, I'd love to meet up. I said, maybe we can get a ride or two in together. So that'd be a lot of fun. I said, here's my number. Text me, and we'll definitely plan on it.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's really exciting.
Well, great. That's exciting. Yeah.
That is great.
I get a listener meetup.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's usually you guys that get those.
Yeah.
Now I gotta do my makeup and look all cute,
Yeah, right. Like you wouldn't do it anyway. Yeah.
I'll have to see if we can get.
No, I'm definitely not going to, because if you check the weather, it's going to be 81 degrees, like Anaheim, 81 degrees on Tuesday. I'm not doing anything.
Oh, jeez. That's warm.
That's hot.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Whatever. Okay.
Well, Udi, where can people find you for some more witty banter?
You can find me on my other podcast show, The Mando Show, that we cover The Mandalorian. What?
I was going to ask you, and I want a very quick answer.
Obi-Wan trailer.
Yes.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer. Oh, my freaking God. I almost cried repeatedly. I'll leave it there.
Oh, my gosh. How cool is that going to be?
Really looking forward to it. The second the Duels of the Fate, the Duel of Fates kicked in, that's when I almost started crying.
Okay.
Anyway, Jess, have you seen that trailer?
No.
Yeah, you don't care.
Who's
Whatever.
Obi-Wan?
I'm going to move on from
Well,
you.
are you going to the celebrations? Is this happening yet?
Okay.
Not good political.
I will be right here. As currently it stands, the requirements that they're putting on people to go into the convention, I am not willing to do that.
Okay.
They are talking about, it is a fluid situation. So there are two things that they need to, not correct, but remove from their requirements, and then I am there. So as it stands right now, no.
Okay.
I am not going.
Booty, when is that?
It is the same weekend that Fantasmic launches. So
Correct.
February. Oh,
February.
No, March.
May 26th.
May 26th. That
the day
weekend.
after
Yeah.
the first Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that weekend.
You know he's gonna be there.
I know all of this, but I am gonna stand on my morals, and I will not agree with what they want. I will not comply to that.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna go into political. Everybody knows my opinions. I'm not shy of them, but no. At current time, I will put it out when I make my final call if they don't change it, and I will have a 4-day pass available for anybody who wants it, who's willing to go.
Okay. Well, there you go.
But anyway, but going back to the positive side, that, oh my God, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I can't wait. I've already heard there are some people who just hate Disney Star Wars. They say they love Star Wars, but hate Disney Star Wars, and they decided to pick everything apart. I'm like, get off that. Like, take what you can get from it, enjoy it, and if you don't want to, then stop. But anyway, I'm way hyped for it, and I hope I have faith in Deborah Chow, brilliant director. Great storyteller. So I put my faith in the people working. Anyway,
I hope it's a deep character analysis.
I do too, and actually that goes into the Manda Show. We actually just recorded the episode yesterday. It should be out probably. It will be out by the time this comes out. We talk about that. We talk about what we want from Obi-Wan.
Okay.
A little bit. Anyway, so there's that one, the Manda Show. Then you can find me on my Instagram page, which is HAXGOALIE, Hacks Goalie. That is my only social media because I love to say it. I will not get Facebook. I got put. Anyway.
Oh, come on, Edie.
No.
Okay.
And then Twitter's a dumpster fire. So there we go.
Okay. All right. So that is going to wrap up episode 150. Thank you so much for listening again. We really enjoyed doing these interviews for you, so you can maybe get encouraged to do your own history, do your own research and stuff. But I love to connect with other people. And Marcy's definitely one of those people.
For sure. Thank you again, Marcy.
Yeah, thank you again, Marcy.
Yeah, thank you. Amazing, as always.
Yes. All right. So thank you so much for listening. Again, we love you, adventurers out there, and we will see you in the parks.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Disneyland is now ended its normal operating day. We hope you enjoyed your visit to the Magic Kingdom and that the memories you've made will bring you back again soon.
It's box wine. Don't judge.
No, I know you're trashy. It's fine. So here, I'm going to tell Mark the plan here.
Oh, there's a plan.
Yeah.
Wait, which plan?
The one, because you're going to be on live.
My body's just stiff.
Just whiskey. Hot whiskey with some lemon.
Hot whiskey with lemon.
Kitty.
It's like a breath of fresh air.
Boy, was my face